If you negotiate daily, you lose weekly. Now, undisciplined is rarely the truth. Most people are stuck in daily bargaining. And Live to Thrive ends negotiations by building identity. Not only identity, but also building standards and and a system that truly survives your real life. Because let's be honest, things derail, things have detours, and that is why my Live to Thrive program has been as successful as it has. Is that we give you the blueprint for the detour map because you get to the roadblock and you don't know where to go. So if you negotiate daily, you lose weekly. Let that sink in for 1 second and let that hit. Most people do not fail from lack of knowledge. Most people fail from daily bargaining. And let me go in a little bit on that. One negotiation with comfort turns into an habitual habit. And I use habitual for a reason. One habit turns into an identity. And then your identity starts making decisions for you. And here is the bold truth that makes people uncomfortable. Are you ready for it? Your future is losing to your comfort's negotiation skills. Wow, I said it. Crazy. So, this episode today, or let me say by the end of this episode, this is for that person who keeps saying, man, I'm just so undisciplined, and that you're not undisciplined. You are committed to a standard. That's the big difference. So today, I'm going to build the Live to Thrive system for you, the listener, that ends negotiation. Let me get a drink and let's get started. For those of you that are new here, my name is Michael Hicks, and this is the Liv2Thrive Podcast, the show where we do identity coaching for real life individuals like yourself, whether you're a lawyer, a doctor, a teacher, a first responder, someone that works in the government. It's for you because you do not have the perfect life. You have a real life, and there's no such thing as perfect. So if you're tired of starting over, maybe tired of losing momentum, or maybe tired of feeling like your goals get leftovers after everyone else gets your best self, you're in the right room. If you can just hit that subscribe button, share this with someone, maybe 5 of your friends who really truly needs a reset, let's get into it right now. What we are solving today. Today we're solving one truly monumental thing. And that's the hidden habit that kills consistency. It's not the laziness, it's not the lack of motivation. It's this. It's the fact that you keep negotiating the agreement with yourself. And here's how those negotiations sound. They sound like, "Oh, I'll start on Monday," or "I'll start tomorrow," or I'm going to say it, but this is what I hear. The I am statements. You're associating an identity to what you're feeling. And I often hear, "I'm too tired. It's been too long of a day. I deserve this," or "I'll double this later." Or maybe this week is not going to count. Maybe are those some of the things that you negotiate with regularly? Does that sound like you? And if it's you and it's always that you feel small, this can be in the danger zone. Remember that Top Gun song? Highway to the danger zone. I love to sing. I'm not a good singer, so I'm glad that you're still listening. But it's the danger zone, right? It's the good where the negotiation feels harmless, and then it becomes your true operating system. Now, in this coaching framework that I've built for the last 4 years, And I've had the helps of Tony Robbins and individuals that I've hired to be my personal coach to build this brand because I've had a near life death experience. So I take my pain, which is this discovered purpose, which took me a lot longer because I didn't have the right detour map or the right roadmap. And Live to Thrive says this: your life does not change when you feel inspired. Your life changes when standards stop moving. Your particular standards just stop moving. So we're going to talk today about why negotiation is happening, and that is called the identity, and how habits can get built where that's the small wins in your particular environment, and how high performance protect consistency. And that's the energy part, that's the focus part, that's the accountability part. And we're also going to talk about how my Live to Thrive system can stop the negotiation tactics immediately. And yes, I'm going to share real stories that happen into my life personally. I'm going to share stories of life that happen with my clients, and I'm going to give them associated biblical names to protect their identity because I don't really like to give their information out there. So let's jump in right away. Let me take you back to a version in which I had to outgrow. And when I say I had to outgrow, I was doing just silly, stupid things. And I didn't wake up one day and say, I want to sabotage my life. No. Is I was dealt with a deck of cards, and I had to figure out what life was. And if it wasn't for any of the role models that I had as teachers in my life who were coaches, I would have been lost. I would have been a statistic. So I woke up and I would negotiate my life. And let me explain this. I negotiated the rules. I negotiated authority. I negotiated even with my own conscience. What did I do? I'll tell you what I did. I stole. I vandalized. I had so much built up anger. I chased thrill and approvals. And not from some grand plan. It was just from what I call daily negotiation. So it would go something like this. So just this one time, or not one will, like no one's going to know, right? Or right, like when I say no one's going to know, I would be that person. When I finally got my, teenager, I was like literally 18 when I first got my driver's license. But I would drive and I would look around after I went to a fast food restaurant and I would leave the bag in the middle of the street. No one will know. No one's watching. Or maybe I would even say something like, as I reflect back, it's not that serious and I'm not hurting anyone. And every single time I kept negotiating with myself, my identity would shift little by little. And I wasn't just doing horrible, mean things. I wasn't doing bad things. In some cases, I was becoming the type of person who agreements with what my foundation taught me. My mom did a beautiful thing without having a father in my life. She did a beautiful thing. And I'm not blaming her by any means on this. But that's what negotiation does. It does not only change behavior, it changes your identity. So when I coach adults now, I see it very clear as day, clear as the most beautiful sunset you will see, clear as the most beautiful landscape you'll see. But I just see it so clearly. Most adults are not living crazy. They're just negotiating quietly, right? And quiet negotiations create loud consequences later in your life. That is a real life moment. Let me repeat that again. The quiet negotiations that you're constantly making are creating loud consequences. Now, I want to talk about identity first. I want to talk about this strong idea of a habit. And so there are votes for the type of person who is becoming a certain way. Let me translate all of this, what I just meant by the identity first, because a lot of what I got was from James Clear, and where he talks about the atomic habits. So let me kind of frame it though in the Live to Thrive language. Every day you either get to reinforce your identity or you rent out your comfort. And that's why Live to Thrive as an identity coach, that's where you got to start with first. You got to start with your identity first. So here's the shift. Not I want to work out. You're going to say, I'm the type of person who trains. You're not going to say, I want to eat better. You're going to say, I'm the type of person who fuels my body correctly. You're not going to say, I want to pray more. You're going to say, I'm the type of person who meets God daily. And for me, it's in the morning, driving to the gym, mid-afternoon, in the evening, when I'm in the steam or sauna for recovery, and then at the end of the day. So identity statements truly end negotiations. Now, negotiations, or I should say negotiation survives when identity really stays vague. So I'm going to get really microscopically detailed here for you, because negotiation survives when identity stays vague. So here are some guided questions for you right now. And I want you, if you're scripting, if you get an opportunity, or just mark the time frame on this podcast episode, because this is the part you're going to want to save. Here we go. What identity are your habits proving right now? And not what you say you are, what your week proves you are. I'm going to say that one more time. What identity are your habits proving to you right now? All right. And not what you say you are, what your week proves you are. Now, here's the negotiation trap that everybody falls into. It's your moods over your standards. And most people live by moods. They get this great idea. They feel rested. They got their energy, their good quality sleep. But most people live by moods, and high performers live by standards. Moods are completely unstable. However, standards are completely stable. When you live by moods, you need motivation every single day. I had a great guest on my podcast, and I was also on his, and he frames his motivation in a different perspective. And I'm going to disagree with what he had said, because motivation is a fleeting thing. So when you live by your moods, you need motivation every day. And when you live by your standards, you need alignment. So here's the Live to Thrive cold heart truth. Are you ready? And maybe you can write this down somewhere and put it on the back of a t-shirt. I think that would be better. Discipline is a standard you protect, not a feeling you want. Or not only a feeling you want, not only a feeling you wait for. So discipline is a standard you protect, not a feeling you wait for. And the negotiation usually begins with this one simple sentence. I don't feel like it. I don't feel like doing it. I want to. So, wow, right? I want you to hear me real clearly for a second. You are allowed to not feel like that. you are not allowed to let that feeling drive the car. I did a whole podcast on feelings. The feelings are real. I'm not disregarding the feelings. They're not the reliable ones. Standards are what you can trust. And when you can really rely on your standards, things are going to change for you. And you can feel it, and you can still do it when your standards are your identity piece, your foundation to build that momentum that you need. Now, I want to give you 3 protectors in this process. So you have energy, you have focus, and you have accountability. And I want to talk about my high performers lens for a second. All right. High performers, hear me out, because I'm going to give you the Live to Thrive lens here. High performers are not superheroes. You know what they are? The protectors. They protect their energy, they protect their focus, and they protect their accountability. And when those 3 go unprotected, you know what happens? Negotiation grows. Let me break down energy for you for a second. Low energy, what does low energy do? It creates low standards. And when you are exhausted, guess what screams louder? The comfort zone. And comfort zone is where your dreams go to die. The second one, focus. If you have 10 goals, that's too many. You have 0 goals. They're not going to work. Focus eliminates this. Let me say that again. Focus eliminates negotiation. Are you truly aligned? Is your calendar aligned with your values? And the third one is accountability. No accountability means this, that your private negotiations are staying private, and that your private negotiations become private regret. And then the Live to Thrive lens turns this into a simple phrase. That phrase, guard your fuel, guard your focus, guard your follow through. I want to give you a story. I had a client of mine, and she was a strong one. She kept falling off, though. And for the sake of names, I'm going to call her Martha. Martha, like I said, was extremely strong. Everybody leaned on her. She was that strong personal piece. Her work leaned on her. Her family did, her friends, her kiddos. She looked really disciplined on the outside. And she was even adamant about joining my Live to Thrive 120-day program. It was the one-on-one coaching program. I remember this distinctively. On the inside, she was negotiating daily. Her negotiations sounded responsible. Okay? I'll do it after I handle everyone else. Oh, I got to take these kids because of X, Y, and Z. This happened. She would also say things like, I'm too tired. I've done enough. Or she'd also say things like, I'll start next week when things seem to calm down. Things never calm down in life. We always hear adults saying, oh, it's been so busy. And what happened was her goals became leftovers. So I asked her this profound question, which I thought was very, very profound. And I feel like it changed everything for her. Are you living like your goals matter? Or are you living like your goals are just optional? And then some I've used this question over and over with a lot of my clients. Some will come up with excuses. However, I remember at that moment when I asked Martha that question, she started sobbing. She started crying. And I knew it wasn't from shame. It was just from a clearer lens, a clearer perspective of what her identity should be. So then what we did is we built this one standard. And I remarkably remember this. And here's what that standard was. My goal gets the first fruit, not my leftovers. It's powerful. It's kind of like, from a spirituality, biblical perspective, God wants the first 10% of what you've been given. And he's blessed you with it. And I know that's hard. It's hard for a lot of people, including myself. So going back to Martha, when we built that standard of goals get the first fruit and not her leftovers, it wasn't selfish. It was the other S word, which I call stewardship. So then from there, what we did is we built a system. And let me tell you a little bit about that system. That system had two non-negotiable training days, one planning day, and one accountability touch point. And that accountability touch point was Sunday evenings. So what happened was she stopped asking, do I feel like it? And she started asking, what does my standard say about me? And then her life started moving with trajectory, with momentum. And the real moment, going back to that standard that we set, your goals get the first fruit, not your leftovers. Remember that. So let's talk about habit drains. And I want to transition here and things that you got to remove. And a lot of us know what drains us. A lot of us know what particular things that are really bad habits that we just got to get rid of. And these habits, they can truly drain you. I'm not perfect. I've got some habits sometimes. I still got some discipline, but I'm a human. I'm flawed. And not every habit is a bad habit. Some habits are just simply expensive, right? And here's what I mean by that. They cost you time, and we only get 168 hours in a week. They cost you your energy, and sleep is critical. They cost you confidence. I have a lot of clients that come to me that are struggling in confidence. And confidence and self-esteem are two different things. Peace. They cost you your peace because you're living in this chaos. And not only that, self-trust. Here are some common drainers that I have witnessed throughout my coaching and helping individuals like you that are listening is late night scrolling. You know what that does? That steals tomorrow's momentum and discipline. Or sugar and caffeine swings that really hijack your mood. Or this is a big one. Or staying in conversations that poison your goals. And not only your goals, but your spirit. Or avoiding hard tasks to do. I had to do this one recently, and I said, okay, I'm going to just put 5 minutes to this task. 5 minutes ended up being at 20. And then I took a break and I came back and I finished it. So avoiding hard tasks and then living in anxiety about them. I see this so often. And then saying yes to everyone except yourself. And then what do? You resent your life, hoping that they cancel, right? Is that you? These what I just mentioned from the Liv2Thrive lens are called leaky habits. And they leak your strength and if your strength if it leaks, you know what happens to your standards? They drop. And if your standards drop, guess what wins? Your negotiation. But Michael, I struggle with all of this. You've been doing things your way for so long, and yet you haven't relied on a coach to make that change. So if you have leaky habits, you leak your strength. Here are some guided questions for you that you can write down right now. What habit is draining you the most right now? And not the most embarrassing habit, the most expensive habit. What is it? And let me just take a short break here from words from our sponsor. Can't sleep, got the aches and pains. You got to check out this CBD oil. Man, it's Amos tested. It's proven formula. If you got aches and pains, you cannot sleep, all you got to do is go to superfungummies.com. You can only purchase the CBD oil at that moment. And you get 50% off just by using the promo code New Heights. And it's got 3 different sizes. Highly suggest if you want a better night's sleep. And as we age, sleep is monumental for those high standards that we need. And back to the podcast. So I want to give you a life story. And I recently shared this on a podcast that I was on. And I'm going to get a little vulnerable here and share. I had a near death experience. If it wasn't for the fishermen pulling me out of that lake that day, I would not be here recording this podcast. I would not be a father. I would have not have started my brand, Liv2Thrive. I had a moment in my life that really ended negotiation. It was at a lake. It was when that boy was drowning. I went in after him. I jumped in off my boat. I got him. And I did not get out on my own. He ended up drowning and I got pulled out. That moment really rewired everything inside of me. And it made me ask myself, if I would risk my life to save someone else, why would I negotiate with the life God gave me? I was doing some ugly things during that time. And I'm writing about it in my book. So I asked, why would I delay my purpose? Why would I keep treating discipline like an option? And that was the line that I drew in the sand that day. I stopped believing I had unlimited time. We always say we're going to do it tomorrow or we're going to do it the next day. Negotiation thrives when you believe tomorrow is guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed in life, friends. And follow through grows when you live like life is a gift. And I see this often that most people don't live that way. And I know why. That's why God has given me a purpose now to give that back to individuals so that they can have that twinkle in their eye. Negotiation thrives when tomorrow feels guaranteed. So I want to pivot here. And again, if you want to know more details about that story, I've got 2 episodes in my library that you can check out. And also on the SI5 Improvement Podcast, I literally laid out that entire piece. That was really a foundation where I drew the line. So the Liv2Thrive system, I want to transition now. And I want to call this the order of operations. Now, this is an acronym of sorts. So this system that I'm about to give you, 1, it's absolutely free, and 2, I think it's unbelievable. And then why I say it's unbelievable, because I've got client testimonials that'll say this, but it's called order. I'm going to break this down. Again, this is another time in the episode. If you're not near anything to write it down with, just mark the time frame, because this will be good to go back and script these out and use it for your journaling. Order. So the first letter is O. Own your identity. You can own your identity by saying who you are becoming in one particular sentence. I am becoming my best self by fill in the blank. The second word, R. Remove friction. Where is that friction in your life? Make the right habit easier and the wrong habit harder. Huge, huge point. D, design your day. Without directions, without schedules, the schedule is like the standard. Without a schedule, there's no standard. So writing them down the night before. E, execute with minimum effort. Here's what I mean by that. Minimum standards will constantly protect your momentum on difficult, hard weeks. Don't change that. That's got to be a non-negotiable for you. And the last letter R, review at the end of each week. Review weekly. So what a weekly review does, it expresses negotiation patterns. You'll see the negotiation patterns, and then you can really break them down in a concrete way quickly and fast. So here's a great way, and I talk a lot about identity, a great way to own your identity. Right, I'm the type of person who fills in the blank. And I want you to keep it simple. Use that acronym KISS. Keep it short and simple. Some people like to say the stupid word. I think that's a silly word, but just keep it simple and specific. So when you can remove the friction, let's say you want to work out, lay out your clothes the night before, get your gym bag ready the night before. Let's say you want to pray more. Keep your Bible and journal visible every single day. And maybe if you want to, maybe you're on that scrolling, right? You just cannot endlessly stop scrolling. Charge your phone outside your bedroom. Put it in a different room. I've talked about this often. Leave the first hour of the day to yourself and the last hour of the day to yourself. And that's the time you can spend with God and just building your cup. Because that's a great way to design your day. If your goal, is not on your calendar, it's not a goal. It's honestly a wish list. Something that you're wishing that would happen. And when you execute with momentum, even minimally, the hard week rule did not go to a 0. So, I was sick, with this super flu, COVID. I don't know what it was, but it was just ugly. But I had the hard week rule. I still went to the gym 2 or 3 times. 0 is where negotiation becomes a lifestyle. Get rid of that negotiation. And then when you can review them weekly, you can ask yourself, where did I negotiate this past week? And then what triggered it? I did triggers this last episode. And then what did I do to change that? And if you're struggling with those, my Liv2Thrive coaching agency has a couple spots left. I made some room. I can take 2 more one-on-ones, but I also am running a mastermind class that's coming up soon. And I'm also running a free workshop that I'll leave in the show description as well. Hard weeks need minimum standards. And that's not motivation. That's cold, hard truth. So the 1-minute pattern interrupt. So this is for those negotiation moments, right? Where you are just like, those States, I just feel like I should just stay and watch Netflix a little bit longer. Or I'm just going to stay in bed a little bit longer. I'm going to give you the Liv2Thrive pattern interruption for the moment of negotiation when that thing shows up. And it's actually the word, think of a stop sign. And I broke it down into an acronym as well. So the S stands for say it out loud and say, I'm not negotiating. I'm not negotiating. Say that. You got to say that. Number 2, the T, not a technical timeout. Tell the truth on the timeout. What am I really avoiding right now? Is it fatigue? Is it fear? Is it discomfort? Is it uncertainty to work with that coach? Is it accountability? Oh, one step. Do the smallest next action. Maybe it's putting your shoes on. Maybe it's just driving to the gym. Maybe it's drinking another drink of water or a glass of water. Maybe it's just opening that document. Maybe it's praying one sentence. In fact, God loves your messy prayers. P for the acronym STOP. Prove your identity. Cast one vote for the person who said you are becoming. This ends the debate so quick, so fast. Negotiation thrives in a long conversation with yourself. And that acronym STOP I gave to you can keep it short, simple, and effective. So listen to me on this, Thrivers. Negotiation thrives in long inner conversations. The overthinking train, right? How many of you overthinkers? If you're struggling with that, you can work with me. Email me at michael@liv2thrive.com. Say, Michael, I'm interested in some of your programming. I'll send you over a questionnaire. First of all, see if I can help. And if I can help, I'll break it down, and I'll break it down into 3 problems, 3 solutions that I can help you, and then we'll see if we're a good fit. Does that sound about right? Check it out, michael@liv2thrive.com. I want to give you a client story here, which I think is really a good tie-in here as I get close to ending this episode today. I'm going to give you the client's name. I'm going to just say is Peter. All right. Peter was the all or nothing dude. If he would miss, you know what happened? He would quit the whole week. If he ate, like if his meal plan came off track, the next day was done. If he missed prayer, he would not pray for days. He avoided God. And this negotiation was disguised as perfectionism. There's no such thing as perfect. I remember I used to coach, and I would say practice makes perfect. I was an ignorant basketball coach then. It doesn't make perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. One man that walked this earth was perfect, and that was Jesus Christ. So the one rule that I gave Peter, words: never miss twice. Miss once, reset immediately. No shame, don't spiral, no punishment, just return. And that one rule rebuilt his accountability and consistency night and day. And once consistency grew, his confidence grew even more. So again, 3 simple words: never miss twice. Never, ever miss twice. So if this really resonated with you, I want to talk about my free webinar. It's something that I'm offering that I'm absolutely excited about. And my marketing firm is like, Michael, you're giving away so much for free. Here it is. So if this episode really was stepping on your toes, in a good way, obviously, it means that your future actually has a pulse. Here's the truth. You do not need more information. You need a system that stops ending negotiation. And that's why I'm inviting all of you right now that are listening to this, to my free webinar. I said free, February 5th at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. The title of this webinar is Stop Lying to Yourself, the Live to Thrive goal-setting system that actually changes your life. It's a full blueprint on it. If you want in on this webinar, I'm going to give you my email address right now. It's michael@live2thrive.com, LIV, the number 2, thrive.com. And just put on the subject line, webinar. I'll send you the link, which is going to require you to answer 5 questions. And then a day or 2 before, you will get the actual link to the Zoom meet. All right? I think it's actually going to be a Google Meet, not a Zoom meet. In this webinar, are you ready? Drum roll, please. I'm going to give you the what and the why, plus I'll show you how to build a real plan that survives real life. Maybe you're struggling in relationships. Maybe you're struggling in career. Maybe you're struggling with what's my next step in life. Maybe you're struggling with how do I market X, Y, and Z. Whatever it is, this blueprint will fit that initiative, whether it's losing weight or staying consistent on my workout plan. And if you want the how with the accountability and the structure, I'll offer that to you. But you got to get to my webinar. February 5th. It's not Friday. It's a Thursday evening. February 5th at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. You got to act before that so I can send you out the link so you can get the questionnaire on. So it's basically getting your information of your name, your email address, things of that nature, and what are your biggest struggles right now. So if you want that system and you want to stop ending those negotiations, you have to join the webinar and then step into the lane that truly fixes your life. Now, here's the line that's going to stick for you. Let me land the plane for you right now. I want to be really clear. You're not undisciplined, or maybe you are, but most of us are not. You're just under standard, right? You're just under standard. You have a negotiation with comfort, like comfort pays your bills and builds your legacy. It doesn't. It doesn't. Your future is losing to your comfort zone's negotiation skills. They got better negotiation skills because you have not found your true identity. So let's end that debate. Let's pick your identity. Let's protect your standard, and let's execute the minimum and review that weekly. And remember this. Again, if you negotiate daily, you lose weekly. My name is Michael Hicks, the host with the most of the Liv2Thrive Podcast. Again, if this truly resonated with you, please share it with 5 of your friends. Give us a 5-star rating. It's been going great, and we appreciate the love. However, if you need to get a different reset, or maybe someone else needs a different reset, and you thought about someone while I was talking about this on this episode today, please send it to your friends. And always stay 1% better in mind, body, and soul. And always stay flexed. You heard it here.